Direct hiring overseas is indeed tempting. However, we are surprised that businesses often overlook the key risks of direct overseas hiring. You may find your business facing legal ramifications, hefty fines of up to $165,000 or more for non-compliance with international employment laws. Here's why. Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Wruck, Chief Operating Officer of Intogreat, and I'm here to talk to you about the risks and consequences of direct hiring employees overseas, including legal ramifications, data security breaches when hiring staff directly from overseas, and business liability risks on insurance coverage. Lastly, reputational damage, violations and fines. And discussing with me today here is Brad.
Hi everyone, I'm Brad Cowling, General Manager for People and Culture at Intogreat Solutions, and I'll also share risks that employers might not see when they do direct hire, like violation of Fair Work Act and immigration law, no robust hiring processes and background checks. We'll also examine workers' rights, leaves, and the Modern Slavery Act.
Offshore and outsourced teams have become integral to modern business strategies due to their ability to offer specialised skills, cost effectiveness, and around-the-clock productivity. Offshoring and outsourcing staff offer significant cost savings. Labour expenses in certain regions can be considerably lower, allowing businesses to allocate resources strategically and invest in other areas of growth. However, hiring offshore and outsourcing directly can have critical legal, risk and financial pitfalls for businesses. So, how does direct hiring work? Direct hiring refers to the practice of an employer hiring an employee without involvement of a third-party recruitment agency or labour hire company. Yet, by bypassing third-party agencies by directly hiring overseas staff, is not adhering to local regulations and may expose your business to significant legal risks. In Australia, for instance, there is strict legislation governing the employment of foreign workers. The legal requirements are outlined in various legislations, including the Income Tax Assessment Act, the Fair Work Act, and the Migration Act. Employers must understand that hiring overseas workers without the necessary working rights may constitute a serious violation of immigration laws. This violation could result in significant legal repercussions, including penalties and sanctions under the legislation. It's essential to note that even if an Australian business hires workers from overseas directly, those individuals need to possess the legal right to work in Australia. This requirement is not negotiable and is enforced to maintain the integrity of the Australian workforce and uphold the rights of all employees. Engaging in direct hiring without adhering to the regulations can lead to financial repercussions that could severely impact any corporation's bottom line. Under the Fair Work Act, employers are mandated to follow specific guidelines when it comes to hiring practices. Direct hiring, while seemingly straightforward, requires meticulous attention to legal requirements. Failure to abide by these regulations can result in hefty fines of up to $165,000 for companies found guilty of breaching these provisions. The legal ramifications of direct hiring cannot be overstated. It's imperative for employers to recognise the importance of compliance and take proactive measures to safeguard against potential legal liabilities. It is important to adhere to Australian labour laws regardless of where the work is actually being carried out. Overseas workers directly employed by Australian businesses must have the right to work in Australia. This isn't just a suggestion, it actually is a legal requirement. Hiring employees overseas without ensuring that they have the necessary working rights is not only prohibited, but may actually violate the immigration laws under both the Fair Work Act and the Migration Act. It's imperative that your overseas employees provide documented proof of their right to work. This applies to all employees, irrespective of where your business is located within Australia. First, consider engaging legally registered offshoring and outsourcing providers. These providers, like what we do at Intogreat, specialise in facilitating overseas employment arrangements, whilst ensuring compliance with all relevant regulations. By partnering with a trusted offshore and outsourced provider, you can access a pool of skilled talent without running afoul of the law. Second, if you require specialised skills that aren't readily available domestically, you can sponsor a skilled worker to come to Australia and work for you. This involves obtaining the necessary visas and meeting sponsorship obligations, and it's a legitimate way to address your staffing needs while adhering to legal requirements. Hiring overseas staff can be a strategic move for your business, but it's essential to approach it with caution and compliance in mind.
While it may seem like direct hiring overseas staff is a convenient solution, your business is also at risk on the absence of a robust hiring and background check process. Bypassing a thorough screening process, you're not just compromising on performance, you're inviting potential legal liabilities and even criminal activities into your organisation. While you're not secure hiring overseas staff without robust checking, you're also sacrificing quality of work when dealing with clients. Directly hiring staff, especially overseas, opens the door to various challenges. Your employees might be juggling multiple clients simultaneously, or worse, outsourcing your work to third parties. This lack of oversight can significantly impact the quality and confidentiality of your projects. Did you know that you could also be potentially involved in the transaction of money laundering activities? Unregistered bulk transactions overseas can easily trigger red flags and draw unwanted attention from regulatory authorities. When you transfer funds internationally without following the proper protocols, you're not just risking financial penalties, you could be unknowingly violating money laundering regulations worldwide. This negligence can have severe consequences for your business, including hefty fines and legal repercussions. Recently, news from a data breach of one of the known companies here in Australia has been an alarm to protect and invest on securing information technology infrastructure across all companies. Furthermore, relying on our directly hired overseas personnel is one of significant concern. Is the equipment that they use to perform their work? Consider this: is the PC equipped with robust antivirus software that can mitigate the risks of malware, phishing, viruses, and other cyber threats? Can your client data be stored on these overseas devices? If so, how does this exposure compromise the integrity of your business? We recognise that the security of our data is paramount regardless of where our staff are located. It is evident that IT data storage and security must be accorded the highest priority these days. We cannot afford to overlook these crucial aspects given the interconnected nature of our global workforce. It is safer to entrust our data security to specialised offshore and outsourcing providers who have the expertise and resources, such as secure laptops, cybersecurity measures, and integrated data security training to safeguard information effectively. This strategic shift not only reduces the burden on our organisation, but also enhances our overall security posture. Speaking of security, when hiring staff directly from overseas, businesses face liability on insurance coverage.
When expanding your workforce globally, it's imperative to thoroughly understand your insurance coverage implications. Considering the liability exclusions within our insurance policies, these exclusions refer to specific types of liabilities that may not be covered under our existing insurance arrangements, such as geographic coverage where a breach or loss has occurred. Inadequate coverage can leave your business vulnerable to financial losses in the events of accidents, data breaches, lawsuits, or property damage involving overseas staff. Let's examine the potential fines, infringement notices, and civil court proceedings your business might face for hiring overseas workers directly and how it could impact the trust of your clients and your reputation. As you can see in this table, the financial implications can be substantial, ranging from monetary penalties to legal fees. Consider the fines imposed for non-compliance with employment laws. These fines can vary depending on the severity of the violation and the jurisdiction in which your business operates. However, they often entail substantial financial penalties that can impact your bottom line. There are infringement notices which are issued by regulatory authorities as a warning for minor violations. Whilst these might not occur immediately with financial penalty, they serve as a red flag for potential future enforcement actions and can tarnish your company's reputation. Civil court proceedings represent the most serious consequences of non-compliance. These legal actions can result in hefty fines, damages, and even injunctions that disrupt your business operations and harm your brand image. Adhering to employment laws not only helps you avoid legal repercussions, but also fosters a fair and equitable workplace culture.
When we hire staff from overseas directly, we may unintentionally sidestep critical responsibilities, such as ensuring minimum wage, tax withholding, and other entitlements, like sick leave or superannuation contributions. Understanding workers' rights is paramount in this context. Our employees, regardless of their origin, are entitled to certain fundamental rights, including, but not limited to, the right to a minimum wage, safe working conditions, leave entitlements, and a protection from discrimination. As responsible employers, it's incumbent upon us to uphold and respect these rights at all times. The Fair Work Act 2009, this legislation serves as the primary framework governing employment relationships across all sectors and industries in Australia. The Fair Work Act outlines the rights and responsibilities of both employers and employees, covering a wide range of employment matters, including wages, working hours, leave entitlements, and dispute resolution mechanisms. In essence, the Act aims to promote fairness, equality, and productivity in the workplace by establishing clear guidelines and standards for both employers and employees alike. In conclusion, navigating the legal landscape of employment in Australia requires a thorough understanding of all of the relevant laws and regulations, particularly concerning the hiring of overseas workers. Now, you might be wondering what exactly constitutes a breach under the Fair Work Act. Well, it encompasses various aspects, including but not limited to unfair dismissals, discrimination and underpayment of wages, engaging in direct hiring without ensuring compliance with these regulations puts all employers at risk of facing quite severe penalties. So what's the takeaway from all of this? It's simple. Employers must prioritise compliance with all of the relevant pieces of legislation when engaging in direct hiring. This means conducting due diligence, staying updated on all of the legal requirements, and implementing robust hiring practices to mitigate any potential risks. The Modern Slavery Act and other pertinent legislations are not to be trifled with, and any negligence on our part can result in severe consequences for our organisation. Prioritising compliance with legal obligations, safeguarding workers' rights and mitigating risks, not only does it enhance our reputation, but ultimately it fosters a more equitable and sustainable workplace for all.
Hiring staff from overseas offers incredible opportunities for growth and diversity within your organisation. We advocate for hiring overseas staff through legally registered offshoring and outsourcing providers, like ourselves. By partnering with reputable providers, you can be confident that the entire process is conducted in accordance with the law, from recruitment to onboarding.